So here we are in Age of God's second turn. The Destiny phase is attacks by 1, 2, and 3 size races, and we had a number of those happen. Mainly determined by the cards in the hand, maybe to some extent to protect things. We saw with the sorcerers break out here and kill off one of the high elves, but then the Amazons swept down and wiped them out. We had some other little conflicts. Nobody else was knocked out of the game. The monks expanded here. I think that's about it that was actually successful. Yeah, pretty sure that's actually it. So now we move to the fortification phase, and again, players can expend their fortifications, and it may be a good idea at this point, if they've already revealed a race, to try and help protect one of their races. The disadvantage to it, of course, is they only have 5 of these, and they may want to save them for the last 5 turns of the game. I'll look briefly through and see if anybody plays any, and then we go to the combat actions. So actually nearly everyone took advantage of this. Let's see, starting from the top, the Barbarians, they played one here to help defend this location. Now she could have played a love marker as well, and she may want to help defend other locations where perhaps she doesn't want to expand as much. See, the thing with this is she wants to get some expansion out of there first. She'll hold off on that. Chaos dropped a fortification in one of their cities. That's in a more chaotic location, actually, than here. They can face the humans perhaps alone. They can only put 1 down, so that's their problem. The dwarves filled in their last territory with it. It's pretty clear he's got the dwarves. But you still don't want to reveal them, because then you can't attack with them once you've done that. That's one of the problems and one of the big bonuses of this guy. I've moved the fortress card over to him just because there's no explanation of quite what it does on the counter itself. He has the high elves, and he played them. He gave them an additional fortress, so that's not really a stronghold for them. +1 for the city, +2 for the dwarven fort, and +1 for the fortress, and that's all legal. It's going to be a hard place to take except through some kind of magic or some card or whatever. The humans fortified over here, and then the goddess of peace did not fortify. She's got the orcs, those peaceful critters. Alright, now we go on to the attack phase, or the combat phase, or whatever you want to call it. And pretty much everybody triggered their own major race on the attack phase here, because they still can. They haven't revealed anything. Major changes. I don't remember. The Barbarians expanded into that city. Chaos knocked out, I think, the last elf. The dwarves expanded up against the giants. The high elves pushed into the barbarian wastes there. The humans, damn, I don't remember. I think they attacked Chaos and failed. And the orcs attacked the goblins, I think, and failed. Now we go to the action phase where the cards are played. Alright, so let's look at the card plays. The first one was the Barbarians played gnomes, and they ended up getting a point of technology from that. That's the orcs. There's those. Next one. Chaos played the high elves for an attack. I don't think it did anything. They tried to attack the barbarians at a +1, but the shield in there. Who's next? Next was the dwarves, who did a migration to an empty area. So now the dwarves are over here as well. Next one played the monks for the high elves. That gave them, yeah, they've got it marked, a +1 in defense. That neutralizes the holy war against chaos if chaos gets to them. And if chaos doesn't get to them, well, for everyone else, they've got a +1 to their defense bonus. It's going to be kind of tough. I have trouble keeping track of these tracks, of things that are kind of off to the side like that. I've got to try to train myself in this game to pay attention to that. I had a huge problem with that in Bios Megafauna, actually. Lizard Man for the humans, right? No. Yeah. Yeah, for the humans, did a cave network that allows them to attack another city. They went after the Orc City knowing somebody else holds it. They didn't get it. And then finally, the Orcs themselves tried to up their own technology another level. They didn't get it. So these get discarded. That's the end of the action phase. Nobody's had to roll on the Divine Wrath table yet, which is making what the God of Death seem a little weak. Now, he can choose to roll on it. It's just, this is more destructive actions, so you don't really want to, I don't know. You don't really want to cause these random event effects to take place, right? In a destructive fashion, rather than trying to improve your own race at this point. There may be times where it's clear, though, that somebody's doing much, much better. I think there was a feeling about Chaos that way, but right now they're obviously not. Worries perhaps about the dwarves with 5 areas and so much 6 areas and so much fortification. They're probably making themselves into a bit of a bunny. Now, one of the things is, positionally, different races are in different places. So, I mean, beyond the obvious, the dwarves start out here. There's nobody who's size 4 near them. So nobody has any real advantage to attack them. Whereas the high elves, the chaos, the humans, they're all in one little cluster. Or were. And that makes it a little bit less likely for the dwarves to come under some sort of attack. The barbarians were in a similar circumstance, though, if they hadn't been migrated all over. Alright, so that's the end of this turn. We're going to move to getting new cards, and the token moves to the next player. And I'll deal those cards out. So, new races have been revealed to everyone. At least their own new races. Nobody else knows about them yet. Although I'm sure that'll be deducible pretty easily, given how quickly the last one kind of became obvious. Maybe a little harder now, though, because they have something they can concentrate on. They've revealed their 4 size race. They can keep working on that. And maybe, just try to bonus their 3 size race. But a 3 size race still has a lot of potential for growth. So, not focusing, totally focusing on one could be kind of dangerous, I guess. I'm not sure. So what do we got? Well, for fortification, I think this guy, yeah. The dwarves expanded with another fort down here. Their little foothold, they want to make sure they keep that. The high elves, I believe, dropped another fort down. Let's look. The humans did not. Our goddess of peace here, who has not revealed her races, which is kind of a problem because that's what her bonus is about, revealing. But once you reveal, you can no longer attack with them. Anyway, she fortified the orcs. Seems more valuable now because the goblins are going to be active. She doesn't have them. Let's try to keep them out of our city. And then finally, the goddess of love with the barbarians. Well, she put her love marker in place. So she can't attack out of that city, but nobody else can attack into it. Other things could still kill them and get rid of that love. But, and she also dropped a fortification here. She's really worried about the barbarians. Yeah, they're at 4. That's their starting power. But it's just there's another revealed power right in on her. And it seems kind of dangerous. So now we go to the combat phase, and once again we start over here with the new first player. Okay, let's try to remember what happened. Yeah, that's not going to happen. I know that the Giants were wiped out this time. It looks like Chaos did that, actually. That would have been the first. Dwarves, I think, made an attack down here against the pirates, of all things. They should probably be focusing on the humans. I don't know why they did that. The High Elves continued on against the Barbarians and are wiping them out. Now, they have a +1 on attack, but the Barbarians have a +1 for technology, so it evened out. The humans, I don't think, succeeded in whatever they tried. I don't remember what it was. Oh no, they did. They grabbed a fairy territory and knocked the fairies down to just one area. The orcs have a + on technology against the goblins, and they destroyed and took a territory. That's our loving orcs, right? Yeah. They're loving barbarians. Loving barbarians, what did they do? I think they attacked either chaos or humans and failed. I'm not sure which one. Anyway, now we go to the action cards, and I'll play them out. Okay, let's look down the list of what happened this time. First player played Dark Magic. He chose a territory other than the Dark Elves. On a roll of 3 or higher, it would be destroyed. On a 1, it would destroy a territory controlled by the Dark Elves. Well, this guy isn't the Dark Elves, so that was no big deal at all. And they destroyed the Barbarian Love Fest. That city's gone and will now be easy to take. Unfortunately, the humans are going to go next because the turn marker will shift. That didn't really help as much as I thought it might. Second was to give a defensive bonus to the dwarves, I believe, and they have a little +1 there, from the monks. Third, the ogres over there gave an offensive bonus to the high elves, who now have the equivalent of a technology from their markers, essentially. Fourth player could not play the giants for their 2-point bonus because the giants have been wiped out. Now, it's a shame to throw such a cool card. That would be great once you know what your 1 or 2-point thing is, but what he wants to do is get rid of cards that he doesn't think he can bat with. So getting rid of this to roll on the Divine Wrath made sense, but he rolled a 1, the worst possible roll, which meant the player to his right, which is actually to his left, the way I play, got to choose a territory to destroy. They destroyed a barbarian territory. This is feathering their own nest completely at in opposition to any idea of trying to go after the leaders, because the barbarians were doing very poorly, but it also helps protect those high elves who were not in the safest of position at one point and still have somebody holy warring all over them. So they wanted to free up some space if they can. Next one was the Voracious, which are able to actually kill people. That's the orcs that did it, and they did an attack into the goblin city, and that permanently destroyed a goblin unit. And the player with the goblins kind of reveals who they are by playing the Fertility. Now, just playing that doesn't do it because it's kind of a cool card. If they had done that with, and it wouldn't have been horrible to do so with the Barbarians, to try to expand somewhere, that might have made some sense to try to save them. But they're at least as worried about their goblins being wiped out at this point. So they expanded one area and added a goblin to the pool, which makes up for the one they just lost. That's the end of that turn. Now we're going to be doing these revolt attacks again. Only size 1 and 2 can do it. And the player turn counter moves. I'm going to load this one up.